You ready? Okay. So, have you ever considered why NFL football teams seem to change players so often? And by a show of hands, have any of you ever been to an NFL football game? Ooh. Well, let me share with you a story. Growing up in Houston, my dad used to take me to the Houston Oilers to see them play at the Astrodome. And I just remember the Astrodome being bigger than life, going up the concrete ramps, opening the door. You could smell the nachos, the popcorn, spilled beer, peanut shells. I mean, it was great. But what I could always count on was seeing Earl Campbell running over those opposing defenses. And Bum Phillips over on the sideline in that famous Stetson cowboy hat. I mean, those were amazing times. So what I want to share with y'all today is a little bit about the NFL salary cap and how that affects you, the fan, and maybe how it affects the individual football player. So my dad played high school football. I played football. And of course, currently my boys play football. So we love the game. We love watching it. We love everything there is about it. So here's a couple of questions I want to pose for y'all. So what is the salary cap? And how does that affect you, the fan? And how is that created parity between the NFL teams? And what that means is, well, let me share this with you. Just a couple of stats. Kevin Seifert of ESPN says that the 2017 NFL salary cap is going to be $167 million this year. That is a 40% rise over the last 5 years. When it started in 1994, it was just under $35 million. So as you can see, it's gone up quite a bit each year. Let's see. So the salary cap, what does that mean to the actual team? Well, if they don't adhere to the rules, it can mean fines, millions of dollars in fines. It can also mean they can lose draft picks, or they can have contracts canceled, if they go over. So what about you, the fan? What does that actually mean to you, the fan? Well, ticket prices. Ticket prices, advertising going to the revenue, figured into part of that salary cap. So does that really mean anything to you in particular? Not really, unless you want to take your family to a football game and spend $300-400. But, if you got to see your favorite player like J.J. Watt, you might be willing to do that. But that's not always the case. According to Lee Steinberg with Forbes, he says, fans love the ability to follow a single player through his entire career on that same team. And it's not free agency that has caused players to jump, from team to team. It's the NFL salary cap. So what about parity? Has there been any parity between the NFL teams? What I mean by that is there any common ground? So in the past, it's always seemed like the teams that have spent the most money on players have done the best. But that's even starting to change. According to Kevin Clark from The Ringer, he says that we're now starting to see a little parity. Just a few weeks ago, there was a winless Giants team who beat a 3-1 Broncos team. So that's kind of what the NFL is striving for. We can see common ground, they can play. And so now we're finally starting to see that. So maybe it's working. So what have we learned here today? The salary cap has gone up every year, probably continue to go up every year. And now I think we're finally starting to see a little parity between the NFL teams. I know I grew up watching those Houston Oilers, and I had a fun time doing that. But I want to close with one final thought from Vince Lombardi. He says, if it doesn't matter who wins or loses, then why do they keep score? Thank you.